My name is James Holbrook. I've been coming to Emmanuel for approximately 8 going on 9 years now. My wife and I came here in 2014. We were invited by a member here, and at that particular time, it just happened to be whereas we were going through a transitional period from a previous ministry. When we first came to Emmanuel, we were like, we were just coming to just to see what type of, atmosphere we were going to be getting into. Our initial intention was to just come and sit and just take in the word. But God had a different plan. A week later, we joined Adopted Block, and ever since then, it's been go, go, go. My most favorite thing about being here is simply the fact that you are free to worship however the Spirit leads you to worship, number one. Number two, especially being involved with Adopted Block, the outreach, the love that this church shows to the community. That's very important and very crucial to my growth anyway. James growing up was a child that had a lot of lofty ideas about, what he wanted to become in life. Even being a child that still felt really, really insecure about himself simply because of some childhood hurt, having a father that really didn't want anything to do with me, kind of led me to some bad choices growing up, But nevertheless, during all those things, now looking back upon my childhood and upon my life cumulatively, I can see where, God had a serious plan for me and had his hand upon me the whole time. I was a kid that, I was pretty much left to my own devices, I could do pretty much whatever I wanted to do, within reason, but I'm the oldest of, it's just two, my brother and myself, and I was pretty much most of the time always gone away from home, visiting relatives and friends and things of that nature, not really having a completely structured, family life at home. So, like I said, I was left to my own devices. We didn't really have much of a relationship. I'm 5 years older than he, and he was he was the little kid, and like I said, I was always gone because I had this chip on my shoulder about our situation. His father, which was my stepdad, and I guess I had some resentment towards my brother because his dad was with him and he, cared for him, whereas my father was not. And I guess because of that, now that I look back on things, at that time I didn't really think about it. I was a real selfish type kid. Everything had to revolve around what I wanted and what I wanted to do. But as far as him and I doing things together, as brothers should, that never happened. But now, since that, we've reconnected, being grown men, and with his situation, I have to look out for him. Our mother is passed and his dad is passed. So, it's left up to me to care for him and make sure, that he is taken care of. So. And I owe that to God, because I would not have normally been such a forgiving, even though he's the one that should be forgiving me, for my actions not growing up. But as a result of being saved, that enlightened me as to how I should be treating, especially my brother. I can't say that I love God and not love my own brother. So I was a little bit mischievous, not doing anything that was, law breaking, but just mischievous things, just being a kid. I guess it was pretty much a cry out for attention, those types of things at that time. I was the kid that a lot of other kids looked up to for some reason. I have no understanding as to why that was, but it was. I had a pretty good childhood, in spite of all the things that that we went through. Not having a lot of material things growing up, but yet at the same time, we were provided for. Initially, my, I guess, worldview, you would say, was just pretty much what I knew in relation to, my surroundings. It wasn't so much anything past, the community that we grew up in, and things were pretty good. We had a lot of fun. Was able to do a lot of kid things, just running around, having fun, helping the older adults in the neighborhood. That was a big thing as well, going to the store for people and helping them out with, cutting their lawns and stuff like that. As a teenager, I was in church. Matter of fact, I was the only one in our household that went to church. The entire time I was in high school, I attended church. I sang in the youth choir, played church league basketball. Church was my refuge during my teenage years, because I was in a bad place, mentally, and I looked to, going to church as my place of refuge, So as a teenager is when I really first found out about the Lord, even though not fully understanding and fully serving Him, but I still felt that there was something there, something more there. And then after high school, I just totally went astray. Totally. I began hanging out with, you would say, the wrong crowd, got into drugs, alcohol, gambling, the whole 9 yards, for quite a while, for a very long time. That was my life. That's what I lived for, Again, that selfishness, that selfish attitude, had risen back up in me. It was all about what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, type thing. And then finally, June 7th, 2008, I was in my bathroom at home. By this time, my wife and I, we had been married for a while, and she had been saved and in church for quite some time. And this particular Saturday, I was in the bathroom getting ready to shave, and you know how you look in the mirror and you see your reflection? Well, at this split moment, there was nothing looking back at me. And I clearly hear the voice of God tell me that I need to get myself together. The very next morning, which was Sunday, June the 8th, 2008, when my wife got up, I'm sitting in the living room, dressed, suit on. She says to me, why are you dressed up this morning? I said, I'm going to church with you. I went to church and I got saved. And I haven't looked back since. And that was, to me, that was the turning point in my life. That was my rebirth, That's when, I became the person you see sitting before you now. Even though I'm not totally, I've not arrived, I'll put it like that, but I am much better now than I was on June 7, 2008, that's for sure. And it's been wonderful. It has been truly, truly a wonderful experience knowing God, knowing how he cares and has been faithful unto me. I know that's what I'm here for, but I do have an instance in 2008. At that time, I had been working at the racetrack in Berlin. I had been there almost 10 years at this time, and having a great time. I was one of the lead tellers there. I was working the VIP room. I mean, I was just having a good time interacting with people. I had a large customer base. And this one day, again, I hear the voice of God tell me it is time for you to leave this place. And I'm like, like I said, I'm having a wonderful time. So on my way home that day, I got to thinking about this, and so the next morning I get up, I write out my resignation. I turned my 2-week resignation in. Then I went home and told my wife that I had just quit my job. First, she was a little upset, but once I explained to her why, because I clearly heard the voice of God. And here, not having any plan, any job, or anything to go to, I have on this shirt today, Jeremiah 29:11. That has been my mantra ever since, because that was not my plan to leave that place at that time. For this was in 2012, the whole 2013, not having a job, but I had peace, I had peace within myself. And it was at that point in time that God started moving in my life. I ended up starting my own mentoring program. I was going out to the juvenile detention center here in town, mentoring the kids there. That led me to a job at the Wycomico County Board of Education with the public school system, working in the mentoring program, dealing with some of the same young men that I was dealing with there when they returned to the school system. And, God just constantly kept moving in my life. And none of this was anything that I had planned for myself. And had I not been obedient unto his voice leaving that job, I would not have ended up here at Emmanuel, because the person that invited me here to Emmanuel was my boss at the time. So, God just kind of, he's just an awesome God. He's just so faithful. No matter what plan that I could come up with would not even come close to what his plans that he has, for me. It's just wonderful. I have to absolutely give credit to my wife. She put up with me for a lot of years. Her being saved and me still being a heathen. After I came to Christ, I come to find out that the ministry that she was in at that time, which was the same ministry I ended up joining, I was informed that she always saved a seat for me. And, people in her church praying for me, when they were the furthest thing from my mind, So I have to absolutely, give credit to her, And of course, you know, my family, you know, my one of my daughters, she was, oh God, she ended up becoming a minister. And of course, she prayed for her dad to one day get saved and, you know, come to know the Lord and love him as she did, you know. So, and there are a few other people, you know, that I've met throughout the years, you know, that encouraged me to want to know the Lord. But I wasn't in a mental space at that time to even want to listen to what they had to say, you know. But it's just incredible how God works, you know. He's a patient God as well, you know. And he called me out of the darkness into his marvelous light. And I just thank him every day, every day. Especially since being saved, I now can honestly say that, you know, my children and my wife, they see me entirely different than what they did before I came to Christ, you know, because, you know, I was always dad, always husband. And I felt as though before coming to Christ that I was just tolerated, you know. But now I am a respected father, a respected husband, a respected brother, a respected friend, you know, because of my relationship with the Lord. You know. My overall journey, he did a quick work in me. Like I said, before coming to Christ, you know, I was doing drugs, I was drinking, smoking, and all kinds of things. And one night after a family function, I was outside in the backyard and I just, you know, cried out to the Lord, you know, I need help. And it took a while, but he heard my cry. And he began to turn things around for me. When I stopped smoking, you know, every morning I'd get up, you know, to get showered, brush my teeth and everything. And first thing I want to do is light up that cigarette. This one morning, I had a full pack of cigarettes. I looked at them cigarettes, I crushed them up, and I threw them in the trash. And I said, I'm done. And I was done. When I stopped drinking, the crazy thing was, at that particular time, I was still working at Ocean Downs at the track. They moved my teller station from the clubhouse to the bar. Now, I just stopped drinking. But God, I mean, it just, even if somebody would come and put their drink there while they placing their bets, you know, I'm like, you know, I can't take it anymore. You know, it just started repulsing me. And that's why I feel as though that God had truly, truly delivered me from those things. You know, even the smell of cigarettes, even to this day, these things just, you know, I have no desire to go back to those things. And that's why I feel as though that I have been truly, truly delivered from those things. Now, I'm not saying that I'm this perfect individual, you know, because I'm not. I still got little hang-ups and little things that offend me, as Pastor Mark preached on Sunday, you know. But, you know, I do truly, truly see in myself, and I know that others can see the difference and the change in me over the years, you know, since I've been saved. My story is one of restoration, redemption, of course, salvation. but mainly one of the faithfulness of God. I mean, because he has truly, truly been faithful to me when he was the furthest thing from my mind. And now knowing, looking back upon my life, upon certain situations where that I know that I should not have survived, now knowing that it was nothing but the hand of God that lifted me up and placed me where I am now because of the plan that he had for my life. You know, laying in the floor from an overdose, having the hand of God pick you up out of that, not knowing the things that were going to transpire because of that, you know. Like I said, just the restoration, redemption, all these things, you know. I am not nowhere near the person that I used to be, you know. And even those that know me from back in the day when we used to hang out and things of that nature would tell you the same thing, you know. I had a real good friend of mine. We hung out for over 30 years. He told me one day, he said, and this was way before I even considered getting saved. He said, "You got no business out here with us." So apparently he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. So, you know, it behooves us sometimes to, you know, to listen to those things. You know, it doesn't matter who or what the vehicle is, or, you know, that we receive these words and these messages, but we should take heed to those things because a lot of times it is just the Spirit of God speaking to us through other people. So I'm almost a miracle. I really am. There is no way, only because of the grace of God that I'm still here, period. All things. That is one of the truest scriptures. Of course, they're all true, but all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purposes. That is another scripture that, you know, that I try to live by because everything, even the bad in our lives has worked out, especially my life, has worked out for my good, for his purpose, you know, because the things that I've gone through can help somebody else that's going through the same thing, or even keep them from going through those things just by hearing my story. You know? You have to realize that, as I stated before, we're not here for ourselves. So your story can help someone else that's going through a rough patch in their life. You know, your story can help actually save and bring life to someone else. Your story is a testament to the glory and the goodness of God. And we have to tell our story. For that reason alone, to give him the glory. It's not about anything that we can do, that we have done, you know, because we don't have the strength within ourselves to save ourselves, you know. So we have to share our story. If you don't think that you can do it, just ask God to give you the strength and the courage to do so, and it will happen. My name is James, and this is my story.